Welcome to Newrealities. My name is Alan Steinfeld, and in this show I'd like to investigate the nature of consciousness, where we as a planetary race are moving and how we can create a better world for ourselves. Tonight's guest is someone who's been investigating this work and this field for a long time. She's written many books. Her latest is called The Soul Body. She's written Ecstasy is the Next Frequency. She came to prominence in the 1980s when Shirley MacLaine wrote about her past life therapy at a place called the Light Institute. Tonight's guest is Chris Griscom.
Hello.
Hi, Chris. Thanks.
It's great to be here.
Finally. You know, this show is really investigating how we can create a better future and what is the possibility as humans to live on the planet. What do you see? Because you're a great visionary, so I'm interested in what you see.
Well, the first thing I want to say about that is that we have to reinvent ourselves because we have put ourselves in such a small, constricting image that all of the cosmic frequencies, the vital energies that we have inside are stuck. And so we as humans have to begin to review our relationship with the cosmos so that we understand that we are galactic humans, that we are angelic humans, that we're devic humans. And when we expand our sense of ourselves, we'll realize that we already have solutions within us to live a better world. And the better world will come as we expand it, as we use the resources that are not just from our planet, within our planet, from other dimensions, and actually from our solar neighborhood.
So for so long we thought we were just Earth beings.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Earthbound.
Earthbound. But people haven't even gotten that concept because they think they're like stuck in a country or a family or
That's
a
right.
religion. So
Yes.
you're saying they get that part, but then we have other parts that are connected to vast regions.
Vast, vast. And of course, we're going to get what I call the cosmic boot here because we cannot continue as a species, the two-leggeds, as the American Indian would say, with this quaint idea that we're Italians and Americans and this and that or the other. No, our genetic pool is very small. And so what has to happen now is that we need to activate the strands of our DNA, our DNA encoding that allows us to sense that connection. Just as once the world was flat, only a few hundred years ago, now to think that Earth sits alone in this vast cosmos is foolish. Now we're finding new celestial bodies. We found a couple in the last week, you know.
Planets around other suns.
Planets and other kinds of celestial bodies. And so that's allowing us to begin to say, wait, who are we connected to that? Because we're all made of carbon atoms. So is it so preposterous to recognize, as the Dogons have and have imprinted for 4,000 years, that we are connected to Sirius, that we're connected to these other planets, and that's important to what's happening on planet Earth right now, because there's a seeding taking place, and there are new energies, there's gamma rays, there's so much new vital cosmic force coming into the planet that is pushing us, again, to expand.
Well, I know we're connected. I mean, I feel a shift in frequency, but how do people start to access it? I mean, what do you suggest to, you know, the common people that are unaware? How do they tap into that potential?
Well, here we are in a place where we don't even see the stars anymore, and we wonder, how can we have a perspective that includes something beyond the self? And perhaps it is that we have to vision. We have to dream the dream. We must, for example, in my school, I teach cosmology, and we don't just study the placement of the stars and the planets, but we connect through our meditation. What is the energy of Jupiter? What does it have to offer humans? After all, a piece of it broke off a few years ago and dusted us, you know, gave us a kiss, a cosmic kiss. So what is the energy of that planet that can relate to us, that allows us to expand our consciousness?
So bringing in this external element, that's astrologers have always known about this.
Right. That's right.
And
it's
so
a new kind of education, really.
It's an education that we've really come from the stars.
That's right.
And we're a merging of this animal Earth being and some cosmic
That's right.
galactic being.
Well, what's fascinating is that all of these Earth keepers, these old civilizations, have known that they've been connected to the stars and that they've been seeded by the stars, and carry within them some frame of reference, some way of making that link. And so what's necessary for us now is to search out, each one of us individually and ourselves collectively, what is the link for you to something that's more expanded, to sense that there could be an energy that comes into you. It might be a cosmic ray, it may be pure radiation. We study radiation at our school too, that alters what it is to be human, and that allows us to awaken to new repertoire to what it means to be human. That we have capacities, that we can perform miracles, which are miracles now,
Right.
because we don't quite understand them.
But they'll be common.
Within a flicker, we will be wielding them. So we need to practice what we call exercises in consciousness to wield new energies, to view life energetically.
Well, what would be one exercise in consciousness? But before I ask that, really, how important is it to someone on the street? I mean, how will it affect their lives to know this? I'm hoping it will. That's why I do this. But
Yes.
I want to know how they can connect in if they're just doing a job Monday to Friday. So,
By the
tell
way,
me.
it's very interesting to
Right.
me that many galactics who come into this planet are just doing jobs. They're fairly invisible, although a lot of them like to be in the plane industry, anywhere where they can get back in the sky. You know.
Galactic people with this awareness. Is that
They
what
have
you mean?
no awareness
Oh, they
of
don't
being
have
galactics,
oh,
but they have that genetic vibration, that memory, that encoding within them. So the two things I would say for the person in the street is that once we expand the sense of self, then our repertoire of, am I the victim? Am I helpless to change anything on the planet? Do I have anything to offer? Begins to shift.
Yes.
Because suddenly they do have a sense that they have something to offer. For example, you could walk through an airport or walk down a crowded street and be extending out a kind of energy that allows you to feel a part of everyone else that's on the street. Maybe it's a love vibration that you're sending out. Maybe it's a kind of awareness that views humans down here walking on the street as only one aspect of who we are. The second part is to practice, in a way, altering our reality. That I think is very important.
Yeah.
We, since Atlantis, we have been separate bodies. And now it's time for us to come together. When we collectively come together and say, Hurricane George's off over there. You know what? It goes off over there. Or we need to call the rain.
Separate bodies from the earth. We've been separated from ourselves, each other, or the planet. What do you mean by separate?
When I say separate bodies, I mean that we have the illusion that because you're walking in a different body, we don't have the same soul, or that we're not both galactics, or we don't have some point of reference that would so open our reality if we could come to it. So we feel helpless and small.
So how do we alter this reality, as you say?
Exactly. So once we have an awareness, a sense that we are a part of a galactic, a universal community, that we are connected as a soul group, then we can begin to play together, to use our consciousness together, to perform magnificent acts, good acts, what could be called miracles. The students at my school practice calling the rain. They practice stopping the wind. They practice dissolving radiation. They practice using radiation to alter their consciousness, to expand their sense of being between the invisible and the visible worlds. There's so many ways that we can see ourselves anew.
You mentioned your school a couple of times, and Chris has a high school where
College.
and these children who are evolved and already aware don't have to learn the old socialization, but you prepare them for another level of existence.
Right. We just allow them to live that. But they're not all children. In fact, most of them are adults.
I see.
They're adults who are saying, what's the purpose of my life? And how should I use my embodiment? And so we practice using our embodiment together to participate on a planetary level, on a global level, and then of course on a galactic or cosmic level.
So can then you tell people like actually how they can change their reality? What you see is just a simple little thing that will shift them to an awareness that they are expanded beyond their physical being.
Yes. For example, in one of my books I have a little plaything, which is a way of licking your finger and touching a planet up there with it. And making that touch, closing your eyes and imagining, again, this cosmic energy coming in through you, into you, so that you develop more relativity, more relationship on a cosmic level. Because there are energies that are bombarding planet Earth. That is no secret.
Right.
And so what we want to do is learn to use them. If you have an experience in which you feel, okay, for example, here comes Sirius, which the Dogons say, Sirius B, is the source of our entire solar system. And you feel that energy coming into you, you're going to feel more alive, healthier. And what happens when you open up to that is that new thoughts come to you. New sensations, new awareness comes to you.
But it's developing a sort of sensitivity and these other senses that people aren't aware of. Like we have a sense that will tune us into a certain planet, but
all we have to do is want to. There's no hocus pocus about it, you know.
Right.
We don't have to get into a position, we don't have to make it a certain place. It's all consciousness. It's where we focus our consciousness. We can focus our consciousness on our limitations, or we can focus our consciousness in what can I get from the energy of Jupiter today. You see?
And that will actually...
And that starts to change that, because the child in us is not limited in that way. Everyone has those capacities. Everyone has them. So you don't have to be special. You know?
Yeah.
It can come right through to you. And what's exciting on this planet right now is that we're getting probed. In other words, hundreds of people are seeing UFOs or seeing lights in the sky. Something is saying, humans, look up, look up. Pay attention.
And look
this
down.
Is about you.
It's
Look
crop
down.
circles, right?
That's right. And you know, I went to England one time and stood on a crop circle, and it was very clear to me that the circle was made from inside the earth, not above the earth.
From an intelligence of the earth itself.
Within the earth. Their whole world's inside our earth, you know.
And inside this dimension as well.
That's right. And the many dimensions that pass through us and signal us. You know, I live in a place
in New Mexico.
In New Mexico.
Beautiful place in the middle of the desert.
Next to Los Alamos, the birthplace of the bomb, where they're using lasers. They're practicing laser technology, and that technology is ripping away the astral sleeve so that regular people, if you want to say that, wander into New Mexico and start having multidimensional experiences. They see lights in the sky. They perceive auras around trees. They have all kinds of magical, mystical experiences without drugs, without anything, because something has pushed them through that veil, you know, into simultaneous space that allows them to expand their consciousness. And it's that simple, it's that easy. If a person says, well, I wonder, you know the old thing, phone home?
Yeah. E.T.
You know, E.T. phone home?
Yeah.
Well, it became a sentence heard around the world because all humans feel that connection.
To the source, to their own being, to the depth
they
of...
do.
Yeah.
Whether we say, I am a human and I'm an earthling, well, this is planet Earth, and we are a planet in a family of planets, you know. And so there is something that's maturing in humans.
Yes.
And it is triggering an expansion of consciousness. So on the one level, we can consciously practice exercises in consciousness to become aware. And on the other level, it's happening to us. Something is pushing us into that. Perhaps it was what pushed the first explorers, you know. to discover the world. It's the same.
Something is happening, and there's an acceleration happening.
Tremendous acceleration.
And everyone's talking about, some people say 2012 will be the point where we actually do the shift into the
I love the way
dimension.
humans have to put it in
No,
space.
I don't care.
It has to be 11/11 or 12/12
No,
or 2012.
It could be, it's happening right now.
That's
It's happened
it
for
is
you
happening
already.
right
I mean,
now.
and-
It is
and-
happening right now. And if we just glance around a bit, we start finding each other, for one thing. Here you and I are, and we're talking about not just the possibility, but the probability that we belong to the cosmos, and that there is something there that's calling to us, that is sentient, that is conscious, that's saying, hey, Earthlings, wake up and take in this new information. We are being seeded.
Yes.
Well,
I just wanted to, but, because you are a great visionary, I want to know what you see as the greatest possible future that we can live here on this planet. I mean, what do you see as the most far out vision of what we can pull in?
Oh, my goodness. Well, the immediate far out vision is that we begin to recognize that we can move in and out of our bodies, that death is an illusion, that we belong to a solar system, and that is not a thought form or a fantasy, but that we can live that. We think now that we have to get into a rocket, into a ship, and go out there. But very quickly we're going to learn that consciousness is its own technology, and it's not about metal, and it's not about traveling in a continuous line into space, but it is a synergistic cosmic pulse that when we have a certain kind of consciousness, we are simply there. And that, again, for me, it means that we can, as my higher self says, anchor the sky. We can bring the technology and the awareness and the wisdom of infinite cultures, which are there. In fact, I will tell you with a straight face that we are already living on the moon. We are already living on Saturn.
In this dimension, there are beings living
Our
on...
humans are already out there. I have seen it, and I know that this is true. But that we can take and make an exchange with these beings who are our own true selves, on a spiritual level, on a cosmic level, so that life on Earth becomes rich with the sense of purpose that every human, and my dream and my vision would be that every human whom embodies, instead of saying, I hate being here, or how can I survive, the primordial body, will lift into a frequency that lets them realize that they have a unique gift to give. And the entire human consciousness will spin around so that we know that by our breath, by our touch, by our eyes, that our life has meaning and purpose. And the moment we start to do that, all of the cosmos will open to us. And the limitations we have now will be no longer.
That's beautiful.
And we're there now.
Yeah.
We're there now.
Thank you. Thank you. So part of your work is to really seed that possibility.
And you know how I do it?
How?
I don't do it by telling people so much, is by helping them to have the experience themselves.
In what way? I mean,
Well, for example, we do a thing where it's called Memories of Extraterrestriality.
do you want to actually do it? Do you want to actually include the audience and do a little, just do a little bit so people can actually have this experience, and you can just talk to them.
Well, let me preface it, because it's pretty far out, actually, by saying that we all have memories which are cosmic memories, and we can access them at any time. And once we see, whether we call it an incarnation or a body that we've had or an aspect of the self that is mirrored in the cosmos, it changes us forever. And what's exciting to me is that somehow there's been an energy that says, don't ever broach that your cosmic self would be an alien self that would be destructive, that would be frightening. There's nothing outside yourself that can destroy you or damage you. Nothing. Life and death are all cosmic pulses. We just change form. And so it's fantastic to have someone have an experience of themselves as, let's say, a galactic being. and to integrate that, to create a spin point in your body. So if we're going to do that on this program,
Well,
it's a little bit
well,
long.
no, well,
But-
we don't have to do all of that, but just actually, just that little piece, I think,
Yes.
is enough to get people interested in it. Of course, they can read your books. I mean, if
Yes.
you wanted to give like a few minutes thing of how they can just tap into something, that would be fine. I mean, if it's...
The thing is to trust the self.
Uh-huh.
We say, oh, well, if you're just imagining something, you're crazy.
Mm.
And yet all the great beings have used that capacity of consciousness to reinvent themselves, to reinvent our world. And so we need some reinvention right now. And so the point that's important in any kind of imaging or visioning is to know that we can trust ourselves. That if you go inside, you're not going to find this terrible lizard alien that's going to be let loose upon the planet, you know. No, you're going to find, even if it is a lizard self, something in it that you recognize as you, and that brings up a new kind of energy in you. So we humans need to learn to trust ourselves. We've placed everything outside. The
Trust our
aliens, the
imagination,
gods,
yeah.
everything is outside. Whatever you imagine is true for you. And your brain will imprint that vision, that image, as something that is real, that then you will process. And so if you simply were to close your eyes and ask, show me a perfect, divine, galactic aspect of myself, or a galactic point of reference for me within the cosmos, and then you felt that you saw a planet, or you saw a place, or you saw a body, and then you allowed that to come into your body, to actually bring that inside you. What will happen is that you'll start talking about those things with friends. You'll meet new friends.
Yeah.
It will be okay to wonder together. It's all right if we wonder something we can't prove.
Right.
Is there life out there? Oh, yes, there is.
And the whole idea is whatever we're imagining is a perception on another level. I mean,
That's right.
William Blake said imagination
That's
is the highest form of perception.
That's right.
So it's trusting who we are and who we can imagine ourselves to be.
And I think that it's time on this planet, and part of my visioning is to get over fear. I've spent about 38 years working with the physical body, with the emotional body, and it's really time to let the boogeyman go.
Right. Well, it's such a low level. At least I had a
Yes.
vision that good and evil, that's a very
That's for controlling
dense
the
level.
masses.
And on these other realms, there's just the unknown. There's
That's
just
right. And you know, people say, well, we're always afraid of the unknown. No, it's not true.
we're afraid of the
We're
known.
afraid of what we
Yes.
sense about the unknown that relates to us that we have not uncovered.
Well, we can't be afraid of the unknown because it's an unknown. We're only afraid of what our projections of what
That's
we
right.
know
That's right.
into the unknown.
And that's why it's important to reinvent ourselves as magnificent beings, as beings who have, yes, learned some lessons. We have blown up planets, we've been the killers, we've done all those things and still continue to do them. That's one conversation, and we've had a lot of that in movies. And now it's time for another kind of conversation, a kind of conversation that says we're ready to play.
Yeah.
We're ready to imagine, again, manifesting worlds and participating in those worlds. And
You know, you make
time
a
is
great
now.
point, though, because it's also about being in the physical body.
That's right.
And you say activate the sexual energy to
That's right.
embody spirit in form.
yes,
And how do you I mean, I have an understanding of the sexual energy being spiritual energy, but I loved your definition of the way we come in and through the sexual energy, and that entrance is our spiritual entrance.
which is exquisite, by the way, because galactics don't do it. Angels don't do it. Nobody does it the way we do, you know. We take the ecstatic spark of light and we inject it. You know, we actually get inside each other. Nobody else does that, and except humans and human animals on planet Earth. It's a very interesting conversation for us. And so this spark of light, this ecstatic spark of light, comes in through a sexual course, through a sexual pulse, and that creates our body. And so we have to understand that the sexual energy is the closest energy to spirit, and we're going to wield it differently. We're beginning to now. We're at least wondering, what is it? You know, in the Middle Ages, we cut out the genitals. We said, we know it's in here, give it to me. We punished each other with it.
How can
now there's
we?
a new level.
Well, what parameters do you see of, as people, how they can wield it differently, how they can...
Well, first of all, they have to access it. You know?
Yeah.
We think of sexuality as the act. It's not the act. It's not the fantasy. It's the energy. And so we must first tune into the sexual energy through our sexual body so that we can feel it pass through the heart. We can feel it in our fingertips. And in the future, we may make love, you know, with a glance of the eye or through the energy of the fingertips. We will feel the vibration of sexual life force juice. And that's when we begin to wield it. Right now it's stuck in the act, and it's stuck in this conversation down here. Belongs up here in the heart, belongs up here in the upper chakras, you know.
But then how do you connect this to the galactic stuff? I mean, where do you then join that? I mean, can you make that bridge for me?
Oh, I can make that bridge.
Go ahead.
There's 1,000 different ways. But the first thing that comes to my mind, because we're playing here, is that conversation that's said in the Bible, that's said in many places, that the gods came down and married the daughters of man, or whatever it is, you know. In other words, seeded the daughters of man, is the way the fragment goes. And so the connection there is that we have always been seeded, and the human form itself carries within it this genetic material, since all of the other planets are made out of carbon atoms, just as are ours. And so there is an easy way for us, through that recognition, to sense that we carry the galactic seed inside us. And that in carrying that galactic seed, there is a merging, there's a fusion, there's a sexual link that is there, because sexuality is simply life force. Call it Shakti, call it Kundalini.
How do you connect that to the stars, I mean, in a real concrete way? I mean, you know, so we're in the body with the sexuality, but then we're out of the body with the stars. So
yes,
I want to know how to then bring that up.
It's energy. See, we have to see it as energy. The stars are made of carbon. We are made of carbon. So the link up isn't difficult at all. We naturally flow together. Can you imagine having a sexual connection to a star? I can.
You can.
I can.
Great.
I can. And so all that is the fusion of two bodies, celestial bodies, of two energies coming together. Sexuality is an energy pulse. It's a pulsation of energy, and that's what causes us to be orgasmic. I've had the experience of cosmic orgasm.
Yes, tell people about that, because it's a great story.
Yes. And you know what I love is that when I speak about it, people's eyes start to shine, and they say, I had that experience too.
Well, what is it? So for people who haven't had it.
The way I would describe it is cosmic orgasm is simply that electrical vibration that people usually experience ecstasy, let's say, only through orgasm, through sexual orgasm. Well, that takes, cosmic orgasm takes the sexuality onto another level, whereby every cell, and we have trillions of cells in the body, go into an orgasmic state. It's like a jillion pinpricks, stimulating, activating you so that you have no beginning and end, that you are part of the cosmos. It's so delicious and exquisite that it changes your sexuality forever.
Wow.
And people have different degrees of that. And once they do, maybe they have it with a partner, or, for example, in my case, I was just sleeping outside at night, and all of a sudden this energy came into me and levitated my body up off the ground. And that changed my sexual currents. It freed them from, I have to make this exchange with another body somehow, into a place where I could go into that sexual orgasmic energy And then I could use it for anything. You can use it for healing, you can use it for loving, you can use it to open your consciousness to experience yourself as a galactic being, as an angelic being.
Do you think another part of your DNA was then activated or dormant?
Definitely.
Definitely. And then how did that create you into this being? I mean, what did your work become?
Me.
Yeah, recreated you. But
It
now your work has taken on another level of intensity.
Yes. Well, for one thing, once we begin to expand our repertoire of ourselves, a lot of the old conversation falls away. And that's what's happening to everyone on this planet.
The old dramas, I mean.
The old dramas fall away.
Because they're
the
so
fears
boring
fall
anyway.
away.
I mean,
the fears fall away.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of death. I'm not afraid of going out into the cosmos. I'm not afraid of having a galactic being stand next to me. And I have had those experiences. And so my reality has shifted. And it's shifted in a way that I feel is not something that has happened to me, but that I can use. My higher self says, use life.
Well, you've had near-death experiences. You said
6 of them.
6 near.
I always say I'm a slow learner.
Well, that's a good thing, right?
Yes.
But that gave you an experience that you're not your body.
That's right. And you know, all of us have that because we all dream at night. And every night when you dream, you're actually going out of your body.
Yeah.
And we just need to understand that. So suddenly we find ourselves in a different place, or we're having a dream that's someplace else, and we feel that strange sensation when we come back into our body. We have been out of our body, and if we could comprehend that we have the right, actually we have the faculties as humans to do all these things consciously.
And imagine the conscious society that we could live in if everyone had that as a skill, as something they were just brought up with, like learning how to eat, go to the bathroom, like go out of your body. That would be...
I'm going to tell you a great story, just a little short story.
Yeah.
I had an Indian friend from the Santa Clara Pueblo in New Mexico. And when we first walked on the moon, we happened to be sitting in the car together. I was helping him. He was an eagle dancer, and I was doing the beating for his dance. And we were sitting in the car, and we were listening to this great moment, you know, for mankind. And he turned to me and he said, you know, to be initiated at Santa Clara, you have to go into the kiva. You're locked into the kiva for a certain amount of days, and you have to bring back a moon rock. And we've been doing it for hundreds of years. What's the fuss? And I thought, And if you can do that, see, for me, I am the mother of 6, and I am very practical.
Yes.
If you can bring a moon rock from the moon, what else can you do? How can we take these miraculous experiences, even of going out of your body for a moment, as so many people do when they're very ill, or they're having an operation, or they're dreaming, or they're dying? How can we use these experiences in a way that does change what it is to be human? Does change what you do tomorrow and how you view life.
Yeah.
We can use them.
Well, what you said earlier in the conversation is consciousness is the technology.
That's right.
And if we could somehow realize that as young children, I mean, because I knew it and then it was programmed out of me,
That's
but
right.
if we could somehow have that educated into us, like you're
That's
doing
right.
at the Newrealities School,
That's right.
then we can live in an incredible world.
Yes. And we don't have to wait to become important. And we don't have to do anything important. It's only our breath and our consciousness that makes a difference.
Because we already are important.
That's right. That's why I love to teach things about the weather. You know, people come to New Mexico for a summer school or whatever, and say on a clear blue day, okay, let's call the rain. And they go, how can we do that? With our consciousness. What do you love about rain? I love the smell. Good. Smell it. And invariably, within hours, it rains. And that starts to alter their consciousness. It starts to make them say, wait a minute, if I can do that, it means I'm a part of that. And so they reinvent themselves at that moment.
In this play that I wrote called Skywatchers, there's a line in there that someone says, you keep talking about consciousness. What is consciousness? And the response is, I don't know what consciousness is, but consciousness knows what I am.
Oh, that is so exquisite. That is beautiful. Absolutely.
It's like we're part of something that we have no idea. It's so vast.
We hardly dream it.
Yeah, but we are dreaming it, and it's dreaming
That's
us.
right.
And
It is dreaming us. That's what's so fascinating. I say that humans have no idea how important we are to even holding our solar system together, because the human heart is unique. That energy has been stripped from the DNA of other galactics and other
really?
beings.
The heart, the emotional
heart
body
energy.
heart?
The emotional body heart, but also its capacity, its higher energies. And so we are literally beaming out into the cosmos a vibration that's causing a very strange dream on the parts of other beings out there, because they remember somewhere in their DNA a sense of longing. They never had longing. They never had desires. All that was taken out. And so we are very important. We are messaging to our solar system and beyond a vibration, a love vibration that does not exist in the way it exists here, and it's attracting everybody to this planet. And we think that we're so negative, we can't trust ourselves, that our emotional energy is so bad. But actually, every human experiences universal love, even if it's a flicker, even if you forget that consciously. And it is influencing even the orbits of planets.
Wow. When you was talking about that, I felt this beam, and I felt how much we're always beaming out from our center.
Yes.
Love or something, and maybe it's been shut down in some people, but there's something that's constantly pushing out of us to kind of connect with
That's
the world.
right. And sometimes you see a dog and you go, oh, isn't that cute? There goes the beam. Sometimes
Yeah.
you see a flower and you go, oh, there goes the beam. In other words, we think we have to be so perfect and so powerful and so loud in order for anything to happen. And actually, science knows, you know, that your very breath can create a hurricane. That the breath of the first human is still here on this planet and is affecting this planet. And so we need to do the less is more thing.
Yeah.
You know, and we need to stop worrying about whether the world sees us and come back inside and see ourselves and use, again, the focus of our consciousness. For example, if you want to beam it out there, or you want to heal someone, or you have compassion, or you want to protect something, those thoughts make the difference.
Yeah.
It's that easy. It's that easy. It's not complicated, hocus pocus. You don't have to buy it or sell it. It's innate in all humans.
Yeah, it's great, and thank you, because I get it too. I mean,
Yes.
and I forget it. So now that
We all
I have
forget it
this
every once in a while,
reminder,
for sure.
it's like, it's not about me proving any of that to the
That's
world.
right.
It's just about me feeling it.
It's about you knowing it. And that's
Yeah.
what I work with people, is it doesn't matter if someone else sees it, or they accept it, or they acknowledge you, or they agree with you. All that matters is that you're willing to envision something wonderful for you.
Right.
I was in the Peace Corps once, and one of the things about who would make it and who wouldn't was, did you know that you were doing it for you? It's okay to do it for you. And so if you can envision, you know, magnificent connections with galactics, or whatever, you are living in another planet or sailing across the universe, it makes it happen. And that's enough.
Anything is possible.
Everything is possible.
Everything is.
Everything.
Wow. Thanks for being here and talking.
It's great fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and it inspires me to know how vast I am, how vast, when I look at everyone, what an incredible universe each person is.
You know, that's why I wrote about galactics and divas and angelics, is that if we actually looked at each other's faces, if we actually said, well, who are you? We could begin to experience each other in a different way.
Yeah. I'm talking to Chris Griscom. She has many books out. Ecstasy is the Next Frequency. In that book, you actually talk about the joy as it comes through the body will actually accelerate our consciousness and
That's right.
lift us to a new way of perceiving the world.
That's right.
And the soul body, where you deal with the emotional bodies, and time is an illusion book. So I'm glad people have been part of this conversation, hearing
I
this.
as well.
Yeah.
Be free, stretch yourselves, and dare to dream and to hold an image of yourself as an important piece of the cosmos, of this planet, of what it is to be truly human.
Mm. Thanks. Important piece. I heard P-E-A-C-E, an important piece.
Yes, an important piece.
This is Newrealities, and we've already merged into that greater reality.
Yes.
If people want to contact the Newzoni School or you, do you want to give a number?
Sure.
So you can.
Here it is, 505-466-1975, 1975. That's the Light Institute. And through the Light Institute, you can connect with the Newzoni School for Global Consciousness. It's about us all.
Thanks, Chris.
My pleasure.
And I'm excited about more of the information that will be coming to you as we evolve, as you evolve.
Yes.
Because what we know now will expand vastly in the coming years. And
in the coming months.
And what we don't know that's coming to us is so far beyond our imagination.
Absolutely. And what's thrilling to me is
Yes.
instead of just a person here or a person there, the things that are happening now are starting to happen in mass. And that's exciting.
Yeah.
That we can all share in this and that we all realize we're a part of it.
Well, I say there's a spiritual revolution. I say programs like this and other programs like the Galactic Center of my friends do, and A Better World, all on public access. It's part of this underground spiritual revolution.
That's
and,
right.
and all the New Age bookstores, I mean, it didn't have a good name, but there's something happening where we're thinking differently.
It's the now age now. You know, we're here, and we have the right. We don't have to prove it to anyone, but we do need to try it out, see what's true for ourselves and what we want to be true, and make that happen.
Thanks. Thanks. That's great inspiration.
My pleasure.
My name is Alan Steinfeld. This is Newrealities, and if you have any information or you want to contact me about what you think about the show, please call 212-473-6388. My email is alan@bitxbit.com, C-O-M. I welcome any comments and just like to hear who's watching and what you think. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.